Masters of the Universe Revolution has just been out, and oh my bloody god, I loved it. So this is obviously the sequel or the follow-on to the Revelations series that was out last year by Kevin Smith, and that got a fair bit of flack for various reasons. I did a little video a couple of weeks ago, which you can see here, about my thoughts on the trailer, and interestingly that got a whole ton of thumbs down and negative comments. It really did surprise me how much people hated that original series, with the majority of the comments not really being about the show itself, although to be fair, there was some fair comments about people not enjoying it, which I think is up to them. It's fine, you're entitled to your own opinion. But the vast majority of the criticism was levied at Kevin Smith. He's ruined my childhood, he's baited and switched to her, he's lied to her, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to take that away, people feel how they want to feel, but for me, I couldn't give a shit. It didn't bother us in the slightest. I watched the show and enjoyed it for what it was. So, do I think those people are going to enjoy this show? I hope so, because this show is friggin' brilliant. For a guy who is in his late 40s, very old, for a guy who's in his late 40s who grew up with the original He-Man cartoon series, and shock horror guys, go back and rewatch it, it's not that good. But for a guy who grew up in those days, followed the original cartoon, had all the action figures, loves the remakes of the TV series, the cartoons, the different iterations, the comic books I've been reading for bloody years, and all the rest of it, I consider myself a bit of a Masters of the Universe fan. I'm purposefully saying Masters of the Universe because my enjoyment is not just about a big blonde muscled bloke. I like the intricate universe that Masters of the Universe gives you. I like the different characters, which is probably why I enjoy some of the previous series, because it gives us a taste of those characters. Anyway, I'm waffling. This series, this Revolution, is absolutely great. As a fan, I went in and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think there's a lot there for lots of other people who perhaps aren't as invested in the mythology and the fan base to really enjoy in this series. I hope those that watched or didn't like the previous iteration that Kevin Smith gave her give this a chance, because I'm hoping that there's something in here for them to take away and enjoy. That said, I'm sure there will still be people who say it's too Teela centric, but that's just that. So, spoilers ahead guys, let's get into this series in a little bit more detail. So first things first, it's a bloody crime that this is only 5 episodes long. I was clamouring for more by the end of it. Why is it 5 episodes? I don't know. I'm going to guess because the last series wasn't a big success, so Netflix are being a bit more cautious. I really hope this does well and we'll get a series 3, because this really has left us wanting more. The story is interesting. It's not necessarily something we haven't seen before, but basically it's the introduction of the Horde to Eternia. It's the introduction of technology. We saw that at the end of the last series, but basically it's a mix of magic and technology kind of fighting for dominance of the planet. We'll get introduced to Hordak, who is tremendous, and I would just add, the voice talent in this show is phenomenal. We've got some real heavy hitters here. We've also got one of my personal favourites, The Shat. Cannot believe he's in it. The trailer did give us a bit of a bait and switch. I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting him to be who he was. He's bloody Keldor, isn't he? So, for those of you that don't know, Keldor is obviously the original version of Skeletor, so the king's brother, in different versions of mythology and Masters of the Universe, but basically he gets turned into Skeletor. So it was really nice to see a throwback to that, really nice to see him making an appearance. We'll get the death of King Randor, and now this I thought was beautifully handled, very heavy hitting for me personally, because I've recently lost my father, so I found those moments really touching. I loved the emotion of those scenes. We'll get a great backstory of Teela and evil Lyn, good Lyn, in between Lyn, going off and basically trying to assemble the different scepters or staffs representing the old gods and the different powers. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a real interesting mix, and I enjoyed Teela getting the spotlight she deserves as basically being an absolute badass and sorceress. I enjoyed that element of it. We'll get a number of throwbacks in this. My personal favourite is the recognition that the Masters of the Universe movie is canon in this series. We'll get a number of occasions where people reference that or talk about previous adventures, and then we'll get Gwildor himself appearing, which I absolutely love. The Keymaster himself, which was very, very cool. We'll get a few good Masters of the Universe characters make an appearance. I would like to have seen more, I have to be honest, but the ones we did see were pretty cool. The action in this is great. I think pretty much every episode has at least one good standpoint of fighting with He-Man in action, so that should please a lot of people out there. I thought the introduction of the battle armor was really cool, and there was some real emotional elements in this, particularly when Cringer was talking to He-Man and things like that. I really did enjoy the emotion of this series. I particularly enjoy how the relationship between He-Man and Teela develops over the course of these 5 episodes. I love the section at the end where they kind of embrace, and I'm not ashamed to say I got a little bit teary-eyed. I really did like that. That felt like a lovely character moment for them. I thought the revolution kind of element of this at the end of them freeing Eternia, I thought that was cool. I really did enjoy that. I wasn't expecting that in the slightest, but it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting element. Hordak himself was very, very interesting, although I would say I think he was dispatched far too quickly and easily. Hordak for me should be a kind of an overarching Thanos level bad guy. I think he got sharp shift in this a little bit. That said, we do see him at the end, so hopefully he's going to be back. Ooh, that end. So we obviously get a glimpse of someone in Hordak armor, and we kind of got a hint of this earlier in the series where we see Keldor stealing a baby. Those of you that know your Masters of the Universe mythology will of course know that that was Princess Adora. So that Hordak kind of clad female at the end is Despara, who's a character from the comic books. I'm not sure if she's actually made an appearance in the cartoon, I can't remember. But basically that is Princess Adora, who's been raised by the Horde and is now kind of a commander or a lieutenant in the army. Interesting thing about this is, obviously, those of you that know the history, this is She-Ra. So this is hinting that She-Ra might make an appearance in the next series, if we get one. That's interesting in itself, because I didn't think they had the license for She-Ra. I thought that had been sold off to someone else. Really, really hope we'll get her, because she's one of my favourite characters. It would be amazing to see her in the next series of this line. I'm not going to go into any more detail about the episodes, but there are some fantastic moments in this. I really, really do encourage you to go and check out this series. It's only 5 episodes long. If you're one of those people, and I'm not going to say your opinion's wrong, everybody's entitled to their own view, but if you're one of those people that didn't enjoy the last season, or are saying that you won't watch this purely because it's Kevin Smith, I would just encourage you to give it a go. Only half-hour episodes or so it's worth giving a little bit of time to. You don't know, you might actually enjoy it. So for me, ladies and gents, this was a solid little series. I wish there'd been more episodes. I really, really hope this does well, because I want to see more from this universe. For me, Masters of the Universe Revolution, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's well worth a watch. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this little series. Please don't get into more Kevin Smith bashing. I'm really not interested. I just want to know what you thought of this cartoon. Please do remember, everybody, any money raised on this channel goes towards mental health charities. That's your whack. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.